Okay, so the hydrogens have been given up and we've produced NADH.
Awesome.
What can attach now?
Now the phosphate.
The phosphate, right? So this is what we've got. We've got a little poop now.
Oh, God.
1, 2, 3. And the same thing just happened over here. So now we've got NADH over here. Because there's two of them going on, two of these processes going on at the same time.
Okay.
Okay? So now we want to create pyruvate. And what's pyruvate consist of?
Pyruvate consists of good things. Let's see.
Good things, all good
A lot
things.
of good things. I feel like I know this, I just don't know this. Pyruvate, 1 glucose is what I have.
It'd be half a glucose.
Half a glucose.
So it's going to be 3 carbons.
Okay.
So if it consists of 3 carbons, and that's what our end result's going to be,
Mm-hmm.
what do we have to get rid of?
If we have, then we have to get rid of the phos. No.
The phosphates, yeah.
We
We
do?
have to get rid of both the
Yay,
phosphates.
Awesome.
And so we've got other ADP floating around in the cell, and one comes along and says, oh, I'll take your phosphate. After all, I gave it up to you earlier, right?
Yeah.
So now we've got ATP that was just produced.
So it takes the phosphate.
Takes the phosphate.
Cool.
Now we've just got poo, right?
Awesome.
So another ADP comes along and says, hey, I'll take your other one. And now we've got another ATP. And then we're left with this. What is
Okay.
that?
That's pyruvate.
Pyruvate, right? So the same thing happened over here. We produced ATP, and then we're left with another pyruvate.
Okay.
Okay? Ask me some questions.
I'm trying to think of some. This is the part that I'm bad at, asking questions.
Is it? Does it all make sense to you?
It's making sense so far.
Okay, walk me through it then. Oh, I forgot to write out the other steps. Sorry about that.
Totally okay.
Okay, so number 4.
So is that the dehydrogen something?
4 is going to be the divide where the enzyme came in,
Okay.
right? Number 5 is going to be substrate level phosphorylation.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I spelled that wrong. I
That
spelled it
was
wrong.
fantastic.
Okay, substrate level phosphorylation. So it's talking about the lower level, what's happening when ATP is gaining its phosphates, or ADP is gaining phosphates.
Okay, so it's taking away the phosphate so it can become pyruvate.
Yeah, so this down here, oh, well, yes, that is substrate level phosphorylation.
Okay.
ADP becoming ATP.
Okay. So the ultimate goal for glycolysis then is to produce pyruvate?
To produce pyruvate. And so what that does for us is it gives us an option to make another decision. Decision number 2.
Does this have to do with aerobic or anaerobic?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So if we have sugars and we don't need to use oxygen at the moment, what process are we going to use?
No oxygen, anaerobic.
Anaerobic, right?
So it turns into lactate, right?
Turns into lactate.
Okay.
So what happens is we have an NADH over here, and or NAD, right? NAD's job is to carry electrons.
Yes.
So NADH just received its electrons. What it does is it comes down here to pyruvate and says, all right, this is the destination for hydrogen, so I'm just going to drop them off. So hydrogen attaches here, and then NAD just goes back up to there.
Why?
Because its job is only to carry those electrons.
Okay.
So he takes the hydrogen, drops them off, and goes back up. So he's the reason why this process is able to continually occur.
NADH?
Yeah, NADH. So if we didn't have any NAD, the process would stop right here. The phosphates wouldn't be able to attach. The hydrogen wouldn't be able to get carried down to here because it would just have to release the hydrogen and then it would build up too much and which is wouldn't be good for the cell.
Does that happen to any individual? Because I know, like, for people who have diabetes, type 1 diabetes, they have to use beta oxidation.
We'll go over that soon.
Okay, so does this happen to anyone where it just stops after NADH?
No.
No.
I mean,
that's kinda
hopefully
weird.
not. It's
That would
usually
suck.
it's gonna happen.
Yeah, okay.
You wouldn't be living if it didn't happen, I don't think.
Oh, man.
But well, I guess people with diabetes have a hard time with glycolysis, things like that, just because of glucose levels, things of that sort. But it's not a result of NADH.
Okay.
It's a result of insulin, glucose, and glucagon, and all that stuff.
So NADH decides whether it's an aerobic or an anaerobic?
It's the pyruvate that's kind of the decision maker. So what happens is, if you're not going to be using oxygen, you're just going to turn to glucose, because glucose, you could produce energy quickly, not very efficiently, but it can be produced pretty quick. So it'll just drop off this, make lactic acid, and that'll get delivered to the muscles that you're using. And then NAD just goes back up there to help out those molecules that were just broken down by the enzyme.
So that's anaerobic.
Yep,
The
so this
lactic
is
acid.
anaerobic.
Okay.
Okay, so question.
Yes.
How many ATP did we make?
Oh, man. I remember
Gross
this now.
ATP. So altogether, how much did we make?
4 down there.
4 here.
4 there.
Then if we're talking net ATP, which would include these, how much ATP?
So 2?
It'd be 2, yeah. So
Okay.
net ATP would be 2, and then gross ATP would be 4.
Okay, so gross ATP.
So we use a lot of glucose for this process, just to make 2 ATP, when there is a more efficient way, and it takes a little bit longer, but you'll produce more ATP in the end, and that would be aerobic metabolism.
Okay.
So if you're doing a sprint, a 100-meter sprint, a large majority of your energy is going to be through glycolysis, the majority of it. But if you're going to go run, I don't
Like a
know,
marathon
5 or
or
6,
something?
yeah, a marathon, let's say
Yeah.
a marathon, a lot of your energy is going to be produced or aerobically
Mm-hmm.
through the Krebs cycle and through the electron transport chain.
Okay.
But at first, a lot of your energy is going to be through glycolysis.
Because glycolysis is just like the sugar, like the stuff that you intake.
Yeah, so
Right.
it kind of,
Okay.
it oftentimes, as long as you have glucose ready and available, pyruvate's going to be the guy that kickstarts the Krebs cycle and the electron transport chain.
Okay. Awesome.